And now to outside the shores of Africa, Nepal's new interim prime minister has pledged to heed protesters' demands to end corruption after youth-led demonstrations forced out her predecessor. Sushila Karki, a 73-year-old former Chief Justice, has been tasked with restoring order and preparing for elections in 6 months. The protest, sparked by a social media ban, escalated into arson attacks on parliament and government offices, feeding long-standing economic frustrations. Karki observed a minute's silence for those killed before holding meetings at Singha, where several buildings were torched last week. And nearly 1 in 5 Nepalese aged between 15 to 24 are unemployed, with GDP per capita at just $1,447, according to the World Bank.
रेडी युवा पुस्ताको सोच बमोजिम चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ काम गर्नुपर्ने भएको छ। त्यसैले यो समूहले मागेको कुरा के हो भने भ्रष्टाचारको अन्त्य, सुशासन, गुड गभर्नेन्स र एउटा समान आर्थिक समानताको कुराहरूका मागहरू गरेको हुनाले त्यो पूरा गर्नलाई हामी तपाईहरुले अठोट गर्नुपर्ने अवस्था छ। सक्दो हामीले के गर्यौं भने 6 महिना मात्रै अवधि त्योभन्दा बढी नबस्ने, कुनै हालतमा पनि हामीले कुरा या आफ्ना काम कारबाही गरेर हामी चाहिँ मुक्त हुने र नयाँ आउने संसद, नयाँ आउने मन्त्रीहरूलाई जिम्मेवारी र दायित्व सुम्पिने हाम्रो चाहिँ एउटा हामीले अठोट गरेका छौं। मलाई जहाँसम्म लाग्छ यो अठोटमा यहाँहरूको साथ नपाइकन सम्भव चाहिँ छैन।
Now, the mass protests in Nepal over corruption and social media restrictions have captured global attention. To explore the lessons Nigeria can draw from these events, we're joined by the marketing communication expert Olauto Fawemi for insights on citizen engagement, governance, and managing youth unrest. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Fawemi Olauto. What lessons can Nigeria draw from the Nepal protests regarding, government, citizen engagement, and communication?
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a great honor. Now, the truth is, the situation in Nepal has shown us that it's a typical situation that we see when a group of people in any organization or any country feels excluded, they feel unheard, or they feel like they are being restricted. And in such cases, it's very common that frustrations set in, and then they spill to the streets. We've seen several cases like that happen in Nigeria: the End Bad Governance, the End SARS, and the Occupy Nigeria, and all of that. So this is a similar case in Nepal, and it's something that we have to place closest attention to. And so in speaking about the lessons that Nigeria can learn, I remember during the End Bad Governance, I remember writing an article then that I published in most of the Tier 1 newspapers, talking about the communication gap between the government and the people, which is what exactly is happening right now in Nepal. There is the difference between the politics of communication and the communication of politics, and that's what we need to understand. That's what that's what the government and the people need to understand. When you have government-citizen engagement, situations where you have government-citizen engagement, if you are not clear on communication, if you don't understand the politics of communication, which is the strategic way of speaking to people, of engaging them and letting them know that you understand what they are going through, and you show empathy. If we don't do that, this is the kind of thing that happens. We find ourselves in this kind of situation, right? Protests, escalations, and most of the time it erupts from social media. I mean, gone are the days when people cannot, if you speak here, not too many people can hear you. But now you only need to speak from one spot, put it on social media, and the world can hear you. So as the government, we need to understand that things have changed. It's not the way it used to be in the past. So we need to understand that your youth want to be heard, I mean, over 42% of the population of Nepal are young, and it's the same with Nigeria, right? A significant number of Nigerians are young. So it's very normal for the government to understand that we cannot continue to impose or suppress people. We must understand that there are communication gaps and we must fill it. So the government must operate a two-way communication, listen out to what the people are saying and try to hear them out and show them empathy and show that, oh, we understand what you're going through and we are doing everything in our care to ensure that we put the right things in place and not just try to impose decisions on them, the restrictions and everything like imposition. And so when we do that, we get the streets erupting. So as a country in Nigeria, we need to learn that a lot of dialogue needs to happen between the people and the government. I mean, we could do this through town halls, digital forums, have representatives of the young people in government that understand their language and speak to them and give them and tell them the kind of thing they want to hear. So if we do this, we would get better results with dialogue and showing empathy. We would build trust and not necessarily build suspicion that we currently have that makes people jump on the street and cause chaos.
Now you mentioned something. You talked about showing empathy. How would you assess the present Nigerian administration under Bola Tinubu as regards that?
To be honest, maybe a bit. Maybe now we're understanding that it's not business as usual. I mean, back in the days, we had instances where we have a lot of policies just imposed on the people, and we really don't care what happens. We just throw it out there, and whoever revolts, we deal with them, in quote. The current administration, and the administration is not there yet. It's not like we have it all figured out. However, I see a lot of attempts in trying to create policies that would make the economy better. But at the end of the day, it's how the man on the street feels. It's how it gets to the last person on the street. So the federal government can release policies and it looks so good on the face level at the top. But then again, we have governments that are closer to the people. We have the local governments that are closer to the people. And how much of these things are they implementing, beg your pardon? And how much of these things are actually having having positive effect on the average Nigerian on the streets? Until the effect shows in the grassroots, then all these policies are good. They're just nice to have. So at the end of the day, I look forward to a nation where we execute policies at the basic level and not necessarily at the top, where it looks good to the international community. It looks good to the 20% who probably gets the biggest share of the pie. I look forward to situations where we are bringing up policies that show that we care about the average man on the street. And when the average man on the street is shouting and they are out on the street protesting and saying, no, this is not working for us, we're not in a good position, I look forward to a government that will hear them and have very successful dialogue, very, very two-way and meaningful, successful dialogue.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Mr. Alauto, for having this conversation with us.
Thank you.